Okay, so I guess I'm doing my regular Saturday program tomorrow, maybe. Um, so Sunday was the 1st of July in 2007, and so I had started my sleep study on Surah 3. I listened to Fahim al Quran, uh, supplication in part 23 of 30. Picked al Quran, Surah 20 and 21. I watched Mythos 4, From Goddess to God. Uh, an Orientalist theory that has been roundly disproven is the idea that we basically just started worshiping a bunch of goddesses, and then we worked our way to a single male god or a father son sort of arrangement or something like that. But the evidence seems to point kind of contrary. Gendering happened one way or the other, zoomorphisms and other stuff. But naturally, if we go beyond and say, oh, something must have created this, well, the first people wouldn't, even from the scientific perspective, wouldn't have said, oh, yeah, it must be male, or um, a lot of that came later. So the limits and other attributions based on personal psychology and some other stuff would have came later. Unexplained sexual attraction. Well, our desires are based on our exposure. Some of it is completely instinctual. Some of it is based on, like, for example, the opposite sex parent, what we like about them or don't like about them. It's not that our mothers or our fathers, if we're female. That's not what we're saying. Yeah, I understand. Allium cepa. So that's garlic, isn't it? Um, Mars the fire, representing commanding, and I discussed. What did I discuss with the neighbor? The poster rotated. Okay, I don't remember. I don't know what I've. I had a little magnet that I rotated to show what time of year it was. Maybe I was discussing something to do with that. Sleep study on Surah 7. Um, so let me. So since you obviously have your own opinion. So what do you think? Um, what is your favorite attribute of divinity? Okay, on the second, I read interpretation of the Quran, Surah 3.1 through 107. I believe that's that translation right there in the middle. So obviously I read with the Arabic. I watched something the Legacy revealed. Oh, Star Wars, the Legacy revealed. I set out to work with the whole Western Tattva system. So the symbolism, you got fire, air, earth, water, spirit. I think that's it that went into that. It's fine. We all let our emotions or well not get a control of ourselves. It's something to work over time. So 8:18 to 8:29 p.m. and 7 to 7:09 p.m. Enochian key 13. I think it says Osel. Enochium vum Osel. A scent offering representing faithfulness, and I listened of lemongrass. I listened to Piqdal Quran, Surah 22 and 23, Fahim al Quran, Supplication, uh, parts 24 and 25, and the Sleep CD, LDS. So the Temple Endowment Ceremony is, I guess I fell asleep listening to that. The church that I was a part of. Um, So on the third, Fahim al-Quran, Supplication in part 26, Fiqh al-Quran 24 and 25, and I watched Mythos, The Power. Oh, The Inward Path, is that number 6? Ancient Almanac, The Story of Creation. It's interesting seeing all of the stuff that was, seeing some of the accounts that were written before the Bible. And one of the theories is that Genesis, instead of starting with the letter B, Bait, that it started with Aleph, and that actually makes more sense in a whole series of ways. But okay, I watched The Inward Path, Ancient Almanac, The God Who Wasn't There. The guy went too far with his jokes and that sort of thing. But at a discussion with the neighbor, probably about the God That Wasn't There show, Rose Petal Sin Offering, representing retention. So, okay, let me think of the question to ask you. How much time do you think could be spent in spiritual or religious practice on a weekly basis? And from the fourth, I watch Mythos, The Enlightened One, Naked Archaeologist, Delilah's People, Who Invented the Alphabet. It probably happened a lot further back than we realize, because among the Yazidi stuff and some of the other stuff in Europe, it appeared there may have been some systems of language going back tens of thousands of years. So, the lost years of Jesus. Yeah, what's with that 18-year gap in the Bible? And not too much about his childhood, really. Is it real? Ancient astronauts. And so this is the outline on the tablet of the Enochian working here. We have Zaxanian, Onyez, Ope, Ron O, So, who protects, labor, the namer. Okay, that's really kind of relatively illegible. They're the Fahim al-Quran, the Supplication, and parts 27 and 28. Fiqh al-Quran, Surah 26 and 27, out of 114. Sleep CD start on Surah 22. Tor, the author that sustains, 3:33 to 3:50 p.m., 6:30 to 6:46 p.m., 8 to 8:31 p.m. So it would be the next year, I believe, where the vision happens. That, is shown by the painting. So how much spiritual practice do you think can be spent on a daily basis is another question that I'll throw out there if you want to answer it. Scent offering representing, okay. On the 5th, scent of being, psychic development, growth, strength. I can't tell what that is. Okay, honesty, fidelity. A rose. Rose was offered. Something else was offered. I read the summarized Bukhari, page 581. I listened to Fahim al-Quran, Supplication plus parts 29, 30. The Fiqh al-Quran, Surah 28 through 33. I guess I sleep see on Surah 27. On the 6th, I read the George Sale Quran, Surah 18, 72 through 84, 60, 71 to Father, and I read the Supah. I watched Occupied Minds, and I made a lemon grass scent offering representing divination, sleep study on Surah 31. Now, this is the first one I can say I shared completely with Father, and it's also the first one that I went over on my translation on my page. I presented a scholarly um, presentation of these four right there, and George O'Sale is the first actual direct English translator of the Quran. He left a lot of gaps. And he mistranslated yellow into red for some reason in Surah 2, and there's a few some other issues. But this was a translation that influenced the founding of America. Some of our founding fathers read it and found values in there that wasn't in the Bible. So that's one of the, I thought I'd point out that importance with their okay, on the 7th, I watched Mythos, Our Eternal Selves. Listen to Pickthall Quran, Surah 34 through 41. Subhal Father thrice. I read Surah 55 through 59 to Father. I went to the Sekat Ma'at OTO Lodge potluck of, okay, what was in July? Oh, the 777 thing. And the 7:12 to 7:55 p.m. Marriage of Lucifer and Babylon. Yeah, it sounds a lot sinister than it really is, but then again, I didn't agree with everything that was going on. It was a witness, bearing witness to the symbolism of what they were trying to present. Sleep City on Surah 34. I'm not sure how many they did. 666 didn't go to that. There was 888, 999, 10. I'm not sure how far they went with it. They could, but Mythos, the 9th one, the Way to Illumination. I watched that on the 8th. Oregano, representing animals and bright to mean disposition. Battle. It's one of those types of marriage that you actually find in the Bible. The sort of, well, you marry, but it's a conditional marriage. Like sometimes it says a penalty. Oh, okay, we'll marry one of our daughters as sort of a payment because we did something wrong to you or someone died or something. To prevent tribal warfare. Well, I mean, the intention is a lot better than the actual forced marriage trade. Oh, well, I'll marry your daughter if you marry my daughter, or this sort of thing. Okay. A World Between. Okay, and there was a lemongrass scent offering, psychic growth and developments. Listen to Surah 4, the Pickthall Quran. I read the Father, the translations of. Well, I know the good and truth of the Bible and Christianity in general better than I did believing in the Jesus part and stuff. Was Sleep City on Surah 40, read Surah 1 and 2 to Father of the George Sale translation. Okay, Supa and Sema 4 times, or maybe just Sema once and Supa 4 times. Another question is, what limits do you ascribe to divinity or deity, God, whatever word works for you? Mythos 10, the experience of God. Power of Myth 1, the hero's journey, shows that I watched. On the 9th, there was a rose petal scent offering representing beauty. Supa with Father twice. A lemongrass scent offering. Clairvoyance, contacting other planes. Divinations. I listened to Pickthall Quran, Surah 43 to 53. I read the George of Sale Quran, Surah 12 through 15 to Father. On the 10th, it was the Pickthall Quran, Surah 57 through 54 through 74 that I listen to. I read Surah 8 and 9 of the Jurja Sal Quran to the Father. Supah 4 times. Surah 4, 3, verse 3 to, ayat 3 to 89 of, this translation right there. I don't know how my voice doesn't fit my face. I watched The Power of Myth, 2, The Message of Myth, and 3, The First Storyteller's Psychic Development and Growth. Some a lemongrass scent offering representing honesty and faithfulness. And when you do the right thing, is it more likely to be out of love or doing good or pleasing God, personal enjoyment or pleasure, hope of the results of deeds, fear of the consequences of not doing the right, or hate for doing wrong, or even those who wouldn't do the same? And so on the 11th, there was Mythos, number 4, Sacrifice and Bliss. Sort of the two sides of religious experience, aren't they? 5, Love and the Golden Reeds. Okay, Naked Archaeologists. Who Killed King Herod and the Black Price? I don't know. Is that the story about Peter? Different Peter than I think than the later part of the Bible. But the cock crows. Deny me thrice. If you deny me thrice, oh no, I'm never going to deny you. And he does, and then the cock crows. And okay, Surah 10 and 11 to Father from the Jurja Sal Quran. I went to the Sufi teaching meeting. Listened to Piqbal Quran, Surah 75 through 114, 1 and 2, 1 through 20. And the Shadliya order was the order that I had the most exposure to in this amongst Sufis. Angel's Breath scent offering. The only Angel's Breath flowers that I've kept are ones that are dried from funerals, Surah 2, 255, which is the best verse of the Quran, by the way. Great one to say before going to sleep and after every ritual prayer. 284 to 286. Also, let me think of another question. What sort of things do you think would be hard to do in the name of, whatever you worship? I can talk in all sorts of voices. It all depends. Okay, so on the 12th, I read Al-Quran, Majd al-Faqri, translation, and Muhammad Zayd, Surah 486 through 5:1. Is that what it says? I watched The Power of Myth 6, Mask of Eternity, and some things I'm going to go outside of that because people say there's mask. It's like some people can't think of a loving God at the same time they can think of a just God, or some ridiculous claim that maybe some people can't. They have to think of they got to think of the names separately. But I mean, there's other lists of names and all that. But the personifications, when I say Krishna or Hari or Rama or Shiva or Brahma or any of the other ones, I'm not thinking of of what these statues look like. That's not what I think of God at all. And linguistically, that's not what is necessarily being claimed. But people have put faces on God. It's like when almost every prophetic figure came, they're like, well, we're familiar with these names, but we're not familiar with them all being the same God. The making oneness, the Tawheed is the term in Arabic for that. It's like you can think of a God of love without thinking of a strong, short man and a big, voluptuous woman as personifying the issue. But I guess better than complete atheism would be, the people like that. So psychic development, um, Capricorn is probably one of those incense packs where they pick out your planet or your zodiac sign and stuff like that for that particular blend. Oh, we're going to call this one Capricorn and this one Scorpio, and I don't really pick it out for that. I guess I pick out the one that smells the best and then run with the symbolism when I get it. Well, if we take up our cross and follow him, that sort of thing, if we're willing to die and what's right for ourselves, it's like that's sort of, the rest of your the rest of your Bible talks about, well, we all have our own burden to bear. It's not anybody else that's going to come and pay for us ultimately or anything like that. But I understand it does say that another on the so-called New Testament side. Listen, Pickthall Qurans are 1, 2, 1 through 20, 255 from 2, 284 to 286, 27, 65, 27, 76 to 79, 31, 34, 55, 67, 72, and 85 through 114. On the 13th, I listened to the same portion as the day before of the Pickthall Quran, the Vishnu Sahasranam, the thousand names of God, the Preserver. Some of them are sort of repetitive. I can't really say that some of them are examples like, protector of cows, protector of sheep, protector of, you can really narrow it down a lot more than the number of the list, but that's fine. But I'm just, okay. I've listened to a couple of my brothers, 255, and the best chapter, some would say two, but the best chapter would be the 36, and the last three sum up the whole Quran and half the, there's different ways to approach the issue, but 255 kind of narrows it down that God is greater than the heavens and the earth. The heavens and the earth is not is greater than the footstool, not even the throne, and God's not supported by the throne. God doesn't rest. God doesn't sleep. God's ever living. That sort of thing. So I don't worship anything that dies. Remember, I listened to my brother's. And my astrological reading from somebody. I don't, believe in soothsayers like that. I just want to see what was said, and I can work symbology for myself. Okay, I'm sorry I messed up with that there. Secret societies, the real philosopher's stone. Remember that rock in the corner talk? And he talks about the Ishmaelites, that part of the Bible. There's both what we're doing, and then there's actual places mentioned in the Psalms and stuff about, okay, George Sale's Qurans, there are 3 to Father Subha with Father Seva, scent offerings representing strength. Sa'i and Bak Nachurwa. So Sa'i, wise, and in back, servant, sort of a mental soul way of saying servant, a devotee. You can be an abd against somebody's will. The last part's ancient Egyptian. And so you can be the abd, the physical slave of somebody against your will, but the spiritual slave, that's not anything ever forced. And Dachur is divine, and Wa means unique, one. Basically, basically the name is tying both to the most modern, and the ancient Egyptian may not be the most ancient per se, but it's the most ancient, fully understandable thing that you can point to, and it's definitely something that I looked into. Yes, being raised as LDS did kind of point me in that direction, the direction, and looking into Egyptology more to understand not to be said except in the temple, that sort of thing. So the 14th, oregano, representing harmony, love, peace. Said Supa with Father 4 times. Introduction to the Ancient Essenes. Was that an Edward Bordeaux Szekely book over there? I listened to Hafiz, Scent of Life. Never saw it. And if it's just making fun of them, the Latter-day Saints, I'm, not. I tend to stay away from that. That's why I don't follow the Temple of Satan channel, because they're basically just trolling Christians, making fun of things for the most part because they supposedly don't really believe. And a lot of people, they say Satan, God, and they switch places and that sort of thing. Daniel in the book of Revelations kind of makes it sound like, wait, isn't Daniel? They're talking about the same figure here and the same figure there. And Satan is Yahweh. There's a lot of people who said that sort of thing. No, I don't switch things like that. I see a clear distinction between God and Satan, and yeah. So on the 15th, I watched Mythos 1, Psyche and Symbol, The Sphinx Unmaxed, Prophecies of Israel, The Lost Mummy of Imhotep, Pickthall Quran, Surah 1 and 2. I listened to Amina Elahi, Surah Yusuf, so Surah 12, Supa with Father twice. I read A Company, The Home, Life. The George Sale Quran, Surah 4 and 5 to my father. I'll throw another question out there. What does the purpose of life mean to you? So on the 16th, I read the Quran, Surah 6 and 7 to father from the George O'Sale translation. There's not the Arabic with that one, by the way. It's never been printed with the Arabic. Supa thrice with him. I watched Cities of the Underworld, Dracula's Underground. Dracula is a saint of the Serbian Orthodox. Is it the Serbian Orthodox or which Russian Orthodox? Yeah, Russian Orthodox, I think. Ancient Asteroid. Probably the one that hit in Libya, and the ancient Egyptians picked up fragments of it. Digging for the Truth, The Search of King David. I listened to Fahim al-Quran, The Supplication, and part 1 through 2.2. Except for number 20, they're all 4 parts. Well, there are people that for one reason or another actually consume blood. There are animals that do this, of course. And there are people, but generally we're talking psychic vampires. That organization over there, the Ekankar, believes that there's this race called the Eshwar Kaniwalis that feed off the spiritual energy of those who worship their 970 plus 2, Ekmasters, as they're called, Mahantas. There's only one living Ekmaster at a time, according to their current doctrine. There was 2 at one point, and they've kind of eliminated him off the list. He died in 2008, I believe. I'm sorry. But most of it's a psychic and spiritual vampirism. Okay, yeah, that's why. So on the 17th, Supplication from the Fahim al-Quran, plus part 2.3 through 4.2. I watch Hitler and the Occult. Mythos 2, The Spirit Land. Adolf Hitler, some O&A people believe, and some former O&A people, like V.K. Jehanam, believe that Hitler was an ascended master, and Jesus was an ascended master, and I don't know, Hitler had an artistic vision, I guess you can say that he was different than other people like that. Um, yeah, I've Temple of Blood. That's a group that I'm. Apparently, one of the things I have on them is not available anymore. But they're harder to find out. They're harder to connect with than they used to be. Um, the official members and stuff. But I do believe there is real ONA groups that operate, not just keyboard warrior sort of thing. The Black Sun. Remember my what I had to say about my Samhain and then my Yule actually, but the Samhain one, the Nergal principle. So the black alchemy, as it can be called, the putrefaction sort of principle. Also, the midnight sun in pre-Christian Mithraism, and post, I guess too. But it's it doesn't. Again, a lot of the symbolism that the Nazis use, I can't think of anything that was actually essentially racist. Because people talk about the racist angle of that, but Alexander Dugin is a figure that says, well, why did the Nazis fail? Well, the Nazis failed because they made it about their own particular, they made it about one nation, that sort of thing. So if something like that's going to happen again and be more successful and spread over more of the world, it has to be about more than one nation. And the Russians are breaking down religious prejudice and that sort of thing. So I don't know. The Russians could be the next group that pulls something like that tries to conquer Europe again. But I'm not. I'm just saying there's different sides to some of these things. 1047 to 151. Oh, 1047 a.m. to 151 a.m. Enochian key 2 and 3. Supa with Father thrice on the 18th. Oh, before the 18th, I guess I'll throw out another question. Okay, what happened? What do you think happened before and during, if you think that there was something mystical about your birth? Because I'm trying to turn these in talk sessions too. So I watched International Profile, Nostradamus, Ancient Almanac, The Herod's Lost City, The Naked Archaeologist, Real or Fake, and Fame and Forgery, Secrets of Kabbalah. I watched and took notes on Mythos 1, Psyche and Symbol. I redid that. I don't know who has seen it. I revamped that take on Jungian psychology. For one, I gave the circle multicolors to make it truly a spiritual connection. And anyway, it's plant, animal, human projections. Okay, I took notes on it. Okay, I listened to Fahim al-Quran, Supplication, and part 4.3 to 5.1. And on the 19th, there was an interpretation of the Quran. Okay, Majid Fakhri Surah 5, 2 through 66, and 5 to 9 of the Pikthal Quran. The summarized Bukhari. How much I read? The fifth Enochian key, 3 through 3:24 p.m. Lemongrass, and is it the Virgo sin offering, clairvoyance. I listened to Fahim al-Quran Supplication parts 5.2 through 6, and Pikthal al-Quran Surah 3 and 4. And what's another question? I asked purpose of life. What do you think will happen to you during and after death? I'm not sure who's on at this point. So on the 20th, that Friday, I listened to Fahim al-Quran Supplication and Part 7 through 8.2 and Hifdh al-Quran Surah 55. I watched Mythos 3 on being human. Remember, Joseph Campbell is focusing on the meaning, yes, correlations between groups, yes, but experience. But he's not teaching us how to recreate some of the times. Well, there are certain things that one can say as dying. I tried to guide someone to the, through their death. The ancient Egyptians believed that the Hu act in the Sart. So when you're on the side of the god of authority with wisdom, your act, you know, your soul becomes like as a star. Every man and a woman is a star. I mean, you sit together and you point your arms and kind of form a 6-pointed star. You can stand with the arms and legs apart and be a 5-pointed star. And but you know, it can definitely have correlations to that. But let's okay. On being human, I watched. It's important to regard every moment. And of course, in considering one's past, okay, what have I done? What could I do better? That sort of thing. Exorcising the devil. I have more exorcism video. You know, I've done exorcism stuff in the past here, and I'll continue. I'll do more examples of stuff and write more. Okay, I should show the thing better. The bloody history of human sacrifice. Now, that's not a step I would make. The Temple of Blood has actual guidance for soldiers. Well, anything that you're capable of doing, that you have the means of doing, one is worthy of doing in this life. And one shouldn't worry so much about the bad ones done to the point where one can't accomplish the things they should be doing. Divination, the symbolism of lemongrass. On the Saturday, I watched, okay, from 8:12 to 8:34 a.m. Enochian Key 6 and 7. Well, there's definitely the idea of the hell for the hell for one and the paradise for other, and the comparative hell and the comparative paradise in a reference to this world are the afterworld. And again, people have sort of the terms. I remember when I did my series on demons as far as the Quranic view of this, and people were like, yeah, we're going to burn in hell. That was some of the responses I got. And certainly in the way that some people would use the words Jahannam and Jahim and you know, that sort of thing. Okay, what was that? 6:36 through 6:51 p.m. Yeah, the plural, but I see the plural of the term for divinity in terms of quality rather than quantity. And Allahumma, people, the same thing. If you're monotheist or you're monotheistic, you're going to see it only in that context. And if you're not, okay. Representing fidelity. What did I offer? Oh, the lemongrass again. It's a great one. It has scent all over the place, and you can just put more in the pot every day, every day, every day. Yeah, I mean, if you grow it yourself. Where did it come from? Ancient Egypt. Something structures. Monsters, Madness, and Mayhem, Halloween. I listened to the Fahim al-Quran with the supplications, part 8.3 and 9, and the Hifdh al-Quran 6. Okay, did I ask what do you believe about deity, you know, divinity, God, Ahura Mazda, nature, Deus, Theos, whatever term one puts to it. It's natural. One of the three sources of dreams is one, psychology, and the programs and the reading and the listening and stuff that I do, some of that reworks it in my sleep. So if I'm watching shows about Halloween in July, it can kind of come out at other times too. Okay, on the Sunday, the supplication parts 10 and 11 of the Fahim al-Quran, I watched Around the World in 80, Treasures Peru to Brazil. I presume 80 days is the phrase that's missing. Doomsday, Book of Revelation. The Book of Revelation, like all apocalyptic literature, was supposed to be a guide for its time, so sort of a theological discourse. And I've considered writing my own, with a disclaimer per se, so people aren't saying, "Oh, are you writing a new Bible?" Not really. But anyways, well, if you define magic as the willful change of one's consciousness, the willful change of one's consciousness will affect your sensations, your thoughts, your behaviors. Your behaviors will affect others, and the more people that are involved with something, the more some things can come to being. Okay. Nefertiti and the Lost Dynasty. Nefertiti, the wife of Tutankhamun. Engineering Egypt. So Enochian Key 7 and 8, 4:33 to 4:51 p.m. And if you watch my Jesus and at the beginning of my Jesus and Christianity list, I actually go over, I mention Mary a lot. I have no disrespect for Mary. I just don't believe that anybody, mother of God or mother of son of God or any of that term can be appropriate. And like Enlil raping the one entity, I don't really want to think about God basically saying, "You're going to go to hell if you don't have my kid." Okay, I'll have your kid. That's how it sounds to some people. Okay, I wrote out the azure green list of gemstone properties. Surah 567 through 520, the Majid of Fakhri and Muhammad Zayd translation of the Quran. Are there any limits you ascribe to God? The 23rd, I started the sleep study on Surah 1. I listened to Picked Al Quran, Surah 7, Fahim al Quran, Supplication in part 12. Did I say part 13? 8 and 9, Enochian Key. 7:30 to 8:20 p.m. Lemongrass and Offerings, Psychic Development and Growth. I started the sleep study on Surah 6, and I watched Sodom and Gomorrah. And something I feel important to mention with every case of Sodom and Gomorrah is, one, there's a historical cities of the plain, and Sodom is actually one of the ones, and Amorah was also known as one of the ones, but they were known for more than just, they weren't really, people didn't really think that the homosexual angle was the, we better stay away from there, are a bunch of homosexuals. People knew you could get attacked there. That was the thing that people said. People actually wrote, yeah, that around the Dead Sea there, that one spot, don't, you go 100 miles out of your way to go somewhere else, On the 24th, Judas, Friend or Foe, Betrayers, Creatures, Monsters, Madness, and Mayhem, number 3 and number 4, Creatures and Superstition, and Halloween. Well, it's sort of a shamanism thing gone wrong. I went to the DMV. I went to the DMV and they asked my race on the form. So I said Teutonic because I have no known ancestry that's not Northwestern European. I mean, a Spanish guy like in the 900s. That sort of, you know, whatever one's racial background is fine, national whatever. But they didn't want. They said no, no, no. We want something else. It's like, okay, what do you want? Okay, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, mix. What do you call? Consider yourself, and you consider yourself a male, right? Are you saying I can be a black woman? I can identify as a black woman, and they didn't want that one either. But it's like, but when we take on roles and mask and stuff for shamanistic purposes, we kind of would know that we're not, we're not a dog, we're not this, we're not that, but we let um okay, what point was I making? Okay, I listened to the Pickthall Quran Surah 8 through 10, Fahimul Quran, Supplications, and part 14. I started Sleep Seeing on Surah 8. And I remember, which episode was it of the Monsters, Madness, and Mayhem, that there were a couple of the ones. The creatures, maybe? There were at least a couple of them that there was this woman that I was trying to watch the film with, and yeah, she did not do well with that series because she was. Yeah, people get too extremist with things, and it's like there's meat ingredients in everything, and I don't want to hear about how superior people are because they consider themselves vegan and they eat more meat than me. And it's not one person that's been like this. And even if they were really vegan, it's like, okay, that's your personal liking, but people eat the wrong thing and too much of some things that are okay. And that's where the real problem lies. And that's where the medical research and all this stuff backs up. There hasn't been a single person that lived over 120 in the past 300 years that was vegan. So why is that if vegan is the way your longest life? And I really don't want to live super long. I'd rather live right. Well, I'd be fine living like 2 years or something like that Chinese guy supposedly lived to be, and that Tibetan guy 142 years old. That was something else. Okay, the 25th, Fahim Quran Supplication Part 15 and 16. The Pickthall Quran Surah 11 and 12 was what I listened to. I watched The Message of Myth, The Power of Myth, Naked Archaeologist, Biblical Flood, and Accidental Archaeology. I don't know whether you're mentioning one of the organizations or what the deal is, but I do believe that animals have rights. And if you look at what the supermarkets do versus the people who sacrifice animals, I mean, I can't support that. Biblical Flood, Accidental Archaeology, through page 634 of that summarized Bukhari. And what sort of things would it be hard to do in the name of what you worship? That's my other question that I'll throw out there to see if there's. So on Thursday, the 26th, I read an interpretation of Quran Surah 6 through 7 to. I watched Taboo, Body Art, the Majid Fakhri one. I listened to Pickthall Quran Surah 14 through 21. Okay, I messed up. The Islam Way, Sleep CD, Surah 27. Lemongrass Scent Offering, representing strength and clairvoyance. Okay. I asked how much time you think to be devoted to spiritual or religious practice weekly, how much time could be spent daily. I'm going to close it. Well, a lot of people, there's a particular channel that, actually more than one channel on the internet that I think people are watching for entertainment, not that they believe that, not that they're Satanists themselves or something. And making jokes about things. Yeah, there's a lot of people making jokes about things, and other people are trying to use it as some sort of scam for people. It's like, oh, Lucifer wrote my book. Lucifer wrote my book. Hey, if you have a problem with the content, it's like, if it's not written well, write it. Take some editing advice. Thank you very much. On the 27th, Sleep Study on Surah 40. Listen to Piqth Quran Surah 22 through 27. Fahim al-Quran Supplication Part 19. Shadh. I'm not familiar with Shadh. Are you claiming yourself as a god? I made a burnt offering on that Friday, and through 3:30 through 4:20 p.m., the 12th and 13th in Nokin Key. On the 28th, I read Al-Quran Surah 7:3 through 8:2, the Masjid Fakhri. Translation, Mahmoud Zayed. Yeah. Okay, I finished the Chukma poster, and I had a whole series of pantacles. A pantacle is something by which you represent all your belief. Some people, it's like something like that. They'll just draw a star and a circle, and that's it. They'll somehow claim that that's representing everything they believe. If the three godlike powers are omniscience, omnipresence, and omnipotence, it is so super easy to disprove that anybody is a god, or could become a god. By anybody, I mean incarnate beings and that sort of thing. If you're going to say 99, or 319, or 1001, or the ancient Egyptians with their typical 14, although it's not limited to 14. Whatever the list, but people can become Atazoth, or in the Arabic, Atagut, become a living demon. That's what I mean by that meme. People can certainly make that choice. I listened to Piqth Quran Surah 28 through 34, Fahim al-Quran, part 18 with a supplication. Yeah, we can perfect ourselves, and we can work towards perfection, but one of the greatest secrets to happiness is acknowledging we got limits, man. So the Exodus revealed, I discussed with the neighbor that the right shoulder poster that I put on the door, I gave that to my father as a present. I guess it's still around. If he dies, I guess I'll inherit some of my gifts that he's put up. So I'm glad he's appreciated it. I'm not sure he understood it much longer than explaining it to him, but right away people tend to understand these things. Fahim al-Quran Supplication, parts 19 and 20, Sleep Study on 62. I watched Taboo Voodoo, Vodon, the Ark of the Covenant, the Exodus Revealed poster. That Quimbanda book I got is like the best book on the subject, but you can use symbols and the sort of connections to things in one's own way. People will look at a symbol. I used to have a rain jacket that was like the elemental king Goetia symbols, and the magic, the wand, the cup, the sword, the triangle, but not just Latin Anaphaxicon, Tetragrammaton, Perimemution, and stuff like that. It was it was full colored and all sorts of stuff, and people would. I think I got people yelled out of vehicles, "Hail Satan!" and I don't know if I threatened my own safety through that. So okay, so on the 30th of July, I watched Taboo Witchcraft. I've read a lot of ones I don't have. I've given away some. I've tried only to give away copies of things that I have other copies of. I used to be the person in Masjid An-Nur that I read dozens of their books. I was pretty close to reading the whole pile of 60 books that somebody donated once. Some books got removed for some one reason or another. Wine, Women, and Song based poetry, even though it's not promoting vice, I understood why that went away. Some stuff I could literally get by with a couple books, but I can operate this library, so why am yeah, discipline takes time. When I was younger, it was all sorts of. I've stopped buying movies. One, because there's some stuff I don't want to support, and if it turns out, yes, there's abuse going on in Hollywood, but it's not as common as one thinks. But I don't know who I'm supporting. I don't know what's going to be in the film. I don't want to be taken to some movie and watch some that's basically some diluted porn that I didn't not even type. Oh, I missed what you just said. Because I looked away. Okay, I read interpretation of the Quran, Surah 8:3 through 9, Redundant Scent Offering. I listened to Fahim al Quran, Yel El Halmo, Fire. So watches. I'm not familiar with that in particular. I can't. Nothing registers. Rhododendron Scent Offering. Listen to Fahim al Quran, Part 21 in the Supplication. 41 through 51, Sleep CD on 6-1. And before I go 31, there has been some representative stuff. Sufi teaching stories. I don't know what to call that. Punk Islam, basically. Michael Muhammad Knight. There has been some merit to his fiction in reading it. Not that I've, instead of saying a regular prayer, called a prayer and got out a guitar and played, something that sounded similar. And a lot of the shows and stuff is like some of the television can be more less productive in its sexuality than even pornography, because it's like I got sick of watching people dry hump on the WB and movies and stuff. I'm like, dude, no. That's why these people are like 30 years old playing 15-year-olds. It's like, either be honest with yourself, society, or just stop it. Just, none of this. You have to be over 18 to play a 12-year-old on TV, because you're going to do stuff that they can't legally have the 12-year-old do on film. Okay. So I watched Lost Worlds Atlantis. Remember, as I said, the Berber Atlantis, the Northwest Africa was the center of Atlantis, according to the definitions in Plato, and Herodotus knew it. And it's like, it was on my shelf and I didn't figure it out. And there's genetic evidence and cultural evidence, and there's other details about that site. And so the Dogons and the I used to play a lot of video games, and if it messes with your attention spans and stuff like this, if it's even a waste of time, but a lot of stuff is detrimental. I like to, you can use music to alter your states and stuff like this, and for healing purposes. But are you listening it to entertainment to the point where you can't pay attention as well, and your stress is increased because you're listening to a lot of the stuff you like rather than being effectual with it? There's various angles that one could take. I don't know, maybe on my SoundCloud, I have a paper that I see that I haven't presented that I'm going to give a viewpoint of music, I guess. But as far as forbidding it everywhere, I'm never going to. I'm not going to make that point. I don't believe that's supported. As I said, I can relieve pain and all sorts of stuff. I watched Ancient Almanac, The Bible's Greatest Secrets, Rhododendron Scent Offering. Okay, 52 through 73. So I don't know if I'm going to, in 20 minutes or so, that I'm going to feel like doing another one of these, but I'm going to have to close with this one. And what did I say? Work? Yeah. You hear of people, it's like you just do one simple thing. Do this, you can live longer, healthier, better, whatever. People don't do it. People hurt other people. It's not just when you're robbing or physically abusing people or something like this. People's habits hurt people all the time. And, yes, life's not some armchair anthropology, and that's part of the reason why I'm, doing my outings and sharing my videos, is that I'm, trying to live out these things I'm going over. But you do gotta philosophize and make it your own. And it's experience. But when you do experience, you definitely gotta regard how others are, and